Disappointment is a normal thing. How you respond to it is the big thing. Anger is a normal thing. I want us to know when we become a child of God and when we become saved, anger doesn't leave this temple and we never get angry again. That is a fairy tale. When you give your life to God, disappointment doesn't just vanish and then we just float and everything's just fantastic and life is great. We may have a season of that, but we learned in Ecclesiastes, seasons change. Okay? So there's going to be a season that you turn around and you keep finding $5 and $20 and people keep blessing you. But guess what? Save it. Put that money in the bank. Because there will be another season that you can't even borrow $20 from somebody. You understand what I'm saying? It's about what you did with what was going on will determine the outcome. Okay. The believer has the right to rest in the Lord. If we are a believer, when you say, I choose to be a believer of God, Lord, I want you to come into my life. I want you to come into my heart. You know, when we say that, when people are dedicating their lives to God, and you hear me always telling them, the Lord, as the Lord is ushering them in, you know, come into my heart, come into my life. We have tools that unbelievers don't have. We have rights that unbelievers don't have. Now, because we have them doesn't mean that we're going to operate in them. It is up to us to utilize them or not. So many times we come to church constantly and we still leave without understanding what we have. We come to church, we sing songs, we hug each other, we tell each other what we did throughout the week, and we leave out of here just as weak as we came in. Just as emotional. And that's not what God wants. Okay? That's why he says don't forsake the local assembly. We have to know we can rest in him. And that's an important thing, because I know for a fact when I was in the world, of the world, doing everything worldly and didn't want to have anything to do with God, sometimes I couldn't find rest. Sometimes I couldn't find peace. And that's how we try to find rest and peace in everything. Drugs, sex. And then it goes from more drugs, more sex. Now I can't smoke it. Now I got to inject it. Okay. Now I can't inject it, and now I need to snort it. Now and again, as I teach this all the time, sin will take you further than you want to go. We're in Hebrews chapter 4, verse number 9. We're there? It says, there remaineth therefore a rest to everybody. We live in a fair, equal opportunity world. We live in a world that God is love, and He is just the God of love. As I say, God is love. But sometimes there are many levels of love, and you've got to show the disappointment even in the love. Right. Parents, did you stop loving your child when you disciplined them? Did you stop loving them when you corrected them? Or spouses, did you stop loving your spouse when you got into an argument? Hopefully not. So it says, there remaineth therefore a rest to the people of God. See, this is the thing that believer, remember I said believers have the right to rest in the Lord? That's a tool that we have as believers that non-believers, they don't have that ability. Okay? So verses 9, that is for us. There is a rest for us. But you can either operate in that rest or walk past it. There's always an option of rest. But sometimes, you know what? We don't choose to rest. Sometimes we do what my wife does all the time. I tell my wife to rest all the time. And she always says, nope, got something else to do. Nope, got something else to do. I have to do something. And I'm saying, rest. And she's like, no, sorry, this needs to be done. This needs to be done. This needs to be done. And I'm like, just rest. And then, this is why we're in the car, she crashes. We're on the couch having a conversation. Because her body will just shut down. Okay? Then she'll just pop up 10 minutes later, now she's vacuuming or doing something. We have to know there has to be a time that we say, shut down time. We have to take control over our mind and our body and say, it needs to be done, but it certainly won't be done now. Because I'm going to set some time to rest in the Lord.
Amen.
When you realize how valuable you are, you realize you're needed. And you can't do everything for everybody at the same time. I don't know who I'm talking to, but I just felt somebody. I just felt somebody right there.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, but listen, this is for all of us. And see, so many times we get burnt out because we did too much. Sometimes we get overwhelmed because we're doing too much, and we have not shut ourselves down. This is why some of us, we secretly blow up on people because we should have rested.
Yeah.
We get smart and snarky with people because you didn't rest. And now you're leaking. I talked about that before. You're leaking. You think you're holding it together, but you're not. Everything isn't cute like it used to be because you're leaking. You didn't rest. You didn't rest the bread. What we do is we absorb somebody else's mess and we dump it on somebody else. And we take our sponge and we say, ooh, and my wife come home, we're like, ooh, I couldn't wait for you to get home. And all we do is this. And we wring out all of what happened to us in the day. And my boss did this. And, ooh, and she said this. And I was about to just tell her about herself. And then the person just got home. And now you're just, they're drenched. And now their night is ruined. They can't do anything. Especially if they're not godly. And even if they are godly, what if they needed support? So you understand what I'm saying? So what God is teaching us, Val, is to not receive it. Because you can't pour out anything you didn't receive. See, listen. Things are going to come up that you don't have to accept. And if you're going to present it to me, I was just having a conversation with my wife today during my lunch. And I was talking to her and said, listen, whoa. You don't have to accept everything that's presented to you. And just because you've come to me and we have a relationship don't mean I have to accept what you're bringing. And I have the right to say, this is my personal space. You cannot dump this on me. And if they say, well, I thought we had that kind of relationship, then it's my fault for teaching you that I'm a dumpster. Yeah. Now I have to retrain you. Sorry if I let you always dump on me, but I'm no longer a dumpster, so you can't pull up and dump on me. I know that's how we used to be, but things have changed. Does that make sense? I say it not in a mean way at all. I'm at such a peace with God that if you're going to invade my personal space, you're going to get whatever I have.
Wow.
If you're going to be bold enough to invade my personal space and dump on me, you're not just going to take back what you dumped, but you're going to take what I was holding. The point, so you trespassed.
You did, yeah.
You came into my personal space. See, the misconception, I'm trying to finish the scripture.
Come on.
But there's many misconceptions of faith. Just because I believe on God and believe God, it doesn't mean that I have to always be available for you or to you. I'm not God. I'm not omnipresent. I can't be everywhere. I'm not all-knowing. And we have to be able to be okay with being limited in what we know and what we can do. And no longer let somebody take our heart and stump it. But I've had to learn this over here. I used to give my heart to people, and I was just talking to somebody, I don't know who it was, and I was telling them things that happened years ago, and how for years I was hurt, I was crushed. And then but God had to heal me, but I had to give that. But there's misconceptions of faith, thinking that you can just take my heart anytime you want. That is a lie from the pit of hell. That as a believer, that is not scriptural. We're not supposed to be so available that you can just snatch my heart and rip it.